you. Don't let anyone tell me otherwise, baby. That's right, girl. We'll be fine, whatever we'll be, and you ought to know by now. But your fears will be the same no matter where we're from.
Good morning. Today I'm going to talk about something I know absolutely nothing about. What's new, Trev? Nothing. Except this is like, I really don't know anything about it. It's physics. That's why I've got the splainer hat on. Let us lake. We are at the 9 o'clock of the lake. So over there is the gym, and over there is our house. It is very calm again today, and 25 degrees, so a little bit warmer than it was. I'm looking forward to it getting colder. There's something I'd never say in England. So yeah, physics. Earlier today online I was beguiled by a long video of starlings in a murmuration. Some of you will know what that is, but for those who don't, starlings, I think some of the birds do it, but when they flock, they occasionally do what's called a murmuration, and they fly in these incredible patterns, and but they look like one thing, you know, and they make tight turns en masse and will fly in and out of each other. The tail will be intercepted by the head of a shape that they've just made. It is mesmeric, and I used to be able to see this quite often from one classroom in particular at my secondary school, and that was the science lab. And I would be mesmerized, and then one day the teacher, I believe it was a Mr. Lloyd, caught me like spaced out and watching this magic happening, you know, and he said, "What are you doing, Fisher?" A lot of my teachers sneered when they spoke just like that. "What are you doing, Fisher?" And I said, "I think the starlings are trying to tell us something about physics, sir." And he snorted and he said, "Away with the fairies again, Fisher. Away with the fairies as usual." The thing is, my fairies were a lot more interesting and less banal than him. Not specifically him. I didn't get on with the teachers. I just didn't, and I'm not going to go on about it. It just didn't work for me. Many years later, I think he was on a Joe Rogan episode. He was interviewing a dude called Weinstein, who is a physicist, one of the top boffins in physics. He knows his stuff, apparently. Nobody actually knows whether he knows his stuff, because at that level of physics, and I think he even says it on the program, there's only perhaps him that understands what he talks about, and maybe one other guy in the whole world who understands what he's on about, which is a pretty sweet gig, right? If you've got like one other dude in the world who understands, you probably know each other, and therefore you could just make it up. Just go, right, I'm going to say this, and at some point you'll have pretended to have done all the reading and done your own research that consolidates what I say, and that's enough in the whole world. What other area of anything Could that ever happen? Where you just need two lads to go for a pint and agree that they're right, or one of them's right, and the rest of the world has to believe them because nobody else is clever enough to understand what they've done or do experiments to check out the veracity. And they both got top jobs at big universities. It probably includes a house on the grounds, and they all live happily ever after. It's brilliant. It is quite brilliant. So anyway, Weinstein, what does he do? Well, obviously I can't explain it, but one of the ways he tries and fails to explain it is he makes these objects, these incredible shapes. They're cool to look at. Joe Rogan got one on his desk. He gave one to him. And if you see one, I'll try and put some in. They just look weird, like they don't make sense, but they do. And you try and follow the lines of them, and it doesn't seem to go anywhere. There's a few famous ones, you know. And basically, to use a scientific term, and I'm sorry for using this, you know, but it does your head in. It's at the level of science or physics where your head becomes done in. It's a well-known state in physics. Physicists will often say, that has done my head in. I can't deal with it. And their peers will recognise that indeed their head has been done in, and they've just got to go and have a bit of a lie down. Now, I don't know whether Weinstein is a mathematician type physicist or a physics type physicist, and I learned that there's a difference. Watching Oppenheimer, apparently Einstein wasn't very good at maths, but you don't have to be Einstein. Whereas other physicists have been brilliant at maths and rubbish at other things to do with physics that are really important, but it doesn't matter. So it's quite interesting that E equals mc squared, Einstein's thing, right, is elegant and understandable, but I think that's because it's maths with words. We understand the words, and it looks like an equation, but it actually is a sentence, you know. Whereas when I try to delve into anything to do with physics that requires me to understand the maths, it doesn't work. I'm not a physicist, though, you know, and I don't want to be one. But it's interesting that, you know, there are the mathematician types, and I think that's what Weinstein is. But he makes these incredible objects. It's the desire to maybe get people to understand what he's on about, or maybe he just makes mad things to carry on getting away with his cushy life as a professor somewhere. I had to move, and that's because they started testing the PA system for the you might still be able to hear it in the distance, for the Loy Krathong festival. Alright, so back to Weinstein's shapes. Hopefully I will have put some of them up so that you know what I'm talking about. And but the thing is, if you look at them and then you look at a murmuration, you see the same sort of things, the same sort of patterns. So maybe I wasn't away with the fairies, Mr. Lloyd, when I said I think they're trying to tell us something about physics. Of course, at the time I had no idea about Weinstein and his weird shapes and how important they are to physics. So maybe like in there's a Terry Pratchett book, the very first one, where there's this really shit wizard, but the thing is, he's got this the most powerful spell ever known, the most dangerous spell ever known, stuck in his head. He just can't remember it. So maybe the answer to life, the universe and everything is in my head, or was in my head as a 13-year-old kid watching the murmuration of starlings because I was bored shitless and they were magical. Of course I'm joking, but it was funny to think about. It made me laugh anyway. I hope it made you laugh. Right, so that's it for today. Bit of an unusual one. I like it when that happens. All inspired by watching a murmuration of starlings, and I recommend that. A murmuration of starlings, of course, the birds, not a murmuration of murderous former leaders of the Soviet Union. They don't murmur, they murder. Hey, that's a dad joke sign off. I love you all. Bye.